You're watching TVC Breakfast. The tourism industry has been hard hit by the coronavirus outbreak, and countries that thrive in this sector are still reeling from the effect. Once bubbling tourist destinations across the world have become shadows of themselves. As countries struggle to contain the coronavirus and avoid further spread of infections, travel restrictions are in place, airlines have cancelled flights, and prospective travelers have also postponed trips. But things are beginning to pick up in some countries with a gradual ease of restrictions. Spain may even start welcoming tourists as early as July. One thing is sure, the world will never remain the same. Social distancing measures and safe hygiene practices have become the new order. Well, joining me via Skype is CEO Nigeria Travel Week, Efetobo Ahwana. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, from your window, talk to us how the pandemic has affected your business.
Wow, it's been terrible. The damage has been very massive, and the forecasts are not looking too good. We're just hoping that things will change as we see that the lockdown will be lifted very soon. Otherwise, the forecast was that by the end of the year, for example, 85% of airlines worldwide would have gone bankrupt. And when you look at the fact that 2 million people in Nigeria, over 2 million people are employed by tourism, and 25% of that number could also lose their jobs in the nearest time, that's a very bleak outlook to consider.
Well, as grim as this picture might look, experts believe the sector is still ideally positioned to lead the world towards recovery. Is this something you also agree with?
Yes, definitely.
How so?
The fact is that tourism all over the world is the biggest provider of employment, and it's also the most resilient industry. Previous issues like this tourism has always rebounded, and so we're sure that it's also going to then play a big role. The question is, how are we prepared in Nigeria to take advantage of tourism to drive employment and to also drive our economy, considering the fact that it contributes 10% of global GDP and employs 1 out of every 10 people, around the world.
So from where we stand, is Nigeria prepared, especially where a lot of people are saying it's time for us to begin to look inwards and perhaps reposition our domestic tourism industry?
Are we prepared? I think we can do better, but the good thing is that there are lots of positive signs. And so what I would say is that it's time for us to come together as an industry of private bodies, and then with the support of government institutions to see how we can drive tourism. At this time, every country in the world is resetting, as it were. Every country is sitting down and strategizing and seeing how they can restart the whole tourism business after COVID-19. And so that's where we need to be as well. We need to take advantage. The pandemic has practically brought all of us to the same level. So now that the world is ready to start, are we ready to start again? This requires that we come together and start to strategize and talk to ourselves. Tourism is one of those industries where no single subsector can exist on their own. So it depends on the collaboration of all the different subsectors. And because it's the most massive industry in the world, this requires a lot of work and planning and strategy from all stakeholders.
Talking about collaboration, experts also say that is one major aspect, especially collaborating with major actors across countries, neighboring countries, to ensure that it kickstarts the tourism industry as soon as possible. Are we seeing that happen as things stand now?
Unfortunately, we're not doing too much in terms of regional tourism. And just like you mentioned, that's where the world is going. In fact, we know of arrangements in New Zealand and Australia, for example, for them to try, a window that allows tourists to travel between those two countries, just for the sake of the whole post-COVID recovery. And that's what we should be looking at. First, we have a population to drive tourism within our country, so we should be looking at north, south, all the regions we can drive these things. Looking at all the positives that tourism brings, I don't see a reason why we should not be putting so much energy into this at this point, because beyond the economic benefits that we stand to benefit, we also have the social, the integration. Tourism promotes social integration, so it means that you get the northerners to enjoy the southern part, you get southerners to enjoy the north, and we will get to be happier people. And of course, when you're exchanging money, then we're building our economies by ourselves. And then we can then take advantage of the neighboring countries around us in West Africa, because of course, once you are done with your local attractions, you want to test other destinations. And this provides an opportunity for us to do West Africa and, share that, circulate the dollar within our region.
We see countries exploring the use of technology, talking about virtual tours and the likes. Is that something that we can also be exploring, or we are planning to explore at this point?
Definitely. Technology will be the game changer. In fact, it has always been the game changer, because you're looking at tools that countries and destinations are using to send their message. And of course, virtual tourism is one of those tools that can drive tourism. And we're glad to say that there are corporate organizations in Nigeria today who have already started to. At least I know of one that was launched last year by Skyview. And that's what those tools do, is that they help to inspire the tourists and give them reasons to want to visit those destinations. Now, without those tools, it's difficult to convince the tourists, because first and foremost, tourism is show business. What it means is that you must put your best foot forward. People have myriads of options to choose from, and so they are asking themselves, why Nigeria, why Lagos, why Calabar, why Kano? And when you use technology, you are then able to break that barrier and help them to see why they can visit your destination. Of course, you're looking at social media and the massive role that it's playing in the world today in all spheres. And tourism is one of those industries that can benefit massively from technology.
All right, let's leave the conversation here now. Efetobo, Ahwana, thank you so much for speaking with us.